Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro. The third book of the Torah, Leviticus, Vayikra, speaks about sacrifices. What are the sacrifices? Well, those were gifts of the person to the Almighty. They had different characteristics. There were sacrifices that were offered on the festivities. There were also sacrifices offered when one committed an error. He did not fulfill the instruction of the Torah. However, we have to bear in mind, this is only good if you did it without intention. But you cannot say, I am going to disobey what the Torah says, then I'll bring a sacrifice in the temple and we'll be even Steven. No, it doesn't work that way. The sacrifice had to include also teshuvah. You had to go through a process of being sorry, of asking for forgiveness, not to do it again in addition to the sacrifice, if you did it without intention. With intention is something altogether different. So it says in the Torah that if you make such a mistake, there's a korban called chatat. Chatat has to do with an error that I made. I missed the mark, really, according to some. Or it says even if a Kohen did something like that, he also has to, if the people, the community made a mistake, they also have to bring a sacrifice afterwards. I repeat again, it is not with intention, without malice. I made a mistake. I wasn't careful, or what have you. And then it says, when a leader commits a mistake, he also has to bring a sacrifice. But notice the difference. It says if a man makes a mistake, he has to do it. If a community, when a leader, as if to say, a leader does it. What does this mean? There are 4 people, according to the Talmud, that died because of the serpent. You know, the first disobedience in the Bible is when Adam and Eve don't listen to the word of God and they eat from the forbidden fruit of the forbidden tree. And it's the serpent that tells them, go ahead and eat, nothing's going to happen to you. So they erred, they suffer now because of what the serpent did then, but not because of anything that they did. Who were they? They were Benjamin, the son of Jacob, Amram, the father of Moses. I think one of the sons of David was another one. 4 people that died. They didn't do anything wrong, but they died because of this original sin, so to speak, that the first couple did. I read not too long ago, a rabbi named Jacobson, he says the following. Hey, just a moment. You're telling me 4 people? What about Moses? What about Aaron? What about the patriarchs? Why aren't they mentioned as people who are guiltless, who never did anything wrong? His conclusion is, you know why? Because leaders make mistakes. You know why the other ones never did anything wrong in their life? Because they never did anything. They did very little. That's why they have no minuses, negative reports about what they did in this world. But when you are a leader, you are bound to make mistakes. Nowadays, you know, in many countries, they're looking for ex-presidents, ex-functionaries, and so on, looking for what mistake he made and so on. Of course, it depends on the nature of the mistake. If it's a mistake of state affairs is one thing, but there is no such thing. Ki Adam ein tzadik ba'aretz asher yaseh tov velo yecheta. There is no such thing as a just man in this world that does only good and that doesn't make mistakes. You know how you can avoid making mistakes? Sit, don't do anything. If you don't do anything, you won't make a mistake. But if you start doing, invariably you'll make a mistake. The difference is, do you learn from your mistakes or not? Do you learn for a different behavior in the future because you saw that what you did in the past didn't work? And I think what is also very important, there are people who think that they're guiltless, perfect. They never make mistakes. Even though they do things, well, they're only fooling themselves, because there is no such thing as living in this world and doing without making a mistake. So don't count your mistakes. I think you should count your successes. I think you should count the good that you brought upon this world. Of course, if you kill somebody that doesn't have any remedy, that's terrible. I'm not speaking of that kind of mistake. But in doing things, invariably, you'll take a turn that is not the right turn. Just make sure that the balance, the sum total, is positive. And then you'll be considered a great leader of your society. Look at the great leaders in this world. The great presidents, the great leaders, spiritual leaders, they all made some mistakes. But in the long run, their positive actions far outweigh the mistakes that they made.